talking about genocide.
So do you believe that Jews used to slaughter Christians to mix their blood to bake matzahs?
You cut the words, not you. The Israelis, in memory, they cut the facts and they start this propaganda to say that they are innocent. They want to cover the genocide which is happening in Gaza now.
We pressed this on Hamdan to answer the question. He never really did answer my question. Instead, as you heard, he tried to deflect the question by bringing up a statement by Moshe Feiglin, the deputy speaker of the Israeli Knesset. Feiglin has reached out to us asking to respond. He's joining us now from Jerusalem. Moshe Feiglin, thanks very much for joining us. So he says you support the genocide of the Palestinian people. We checked the open letter you published on August 1st. You don't call for genocide, but you do call for removal of all Palestinians from Gaza, 1.7, 1.8 million Palestinians. You want to put them in tent encampments in Sinai. Is that right?
Well, first of all, let me talk about what he said. I think talking about concentration camps is exactly like talking about mixing Christian blood on Passover. It's the same logic, it's the same basic anti-Semitism, and it's ridiculous. What I was talking about is that Israel have to win this war, and not only for Israel. Israel have to win this war against the extreme Islamic terror, not only for ourselves, but for the entire world. And in order to do so, in the most humane way, I said that we should give the Arabs in these territories where they're launching the rockets and digging the tunnels and fighting against us, using their own children as a human shield, we should give these civilians 8 hours to move to a sheltered places. That's what I was talking about.
Well, let me be precise, Mr. Feiglin. Let me be precise, because it did arouse an enormous amount of concern, this letter. Do you want to kick all the Palestinians out of Gaza and move them to what you call tent encampments in Sinai?
I want to give the Arabs in the Gaza Strip three choices, three very simple choices. Those who fighting against us should be killed, should be dead. Those who launching these rockets from kindergartens and so on should be shot. It is very simple. Those who wants to leave, and most of them, according to their surveys, more than 80% of them wishes to leave, should get from us and from the entire world all the help and support to find their future in a better place. Those who wants to stay can stay. This is exactly what I wrote, and this is exactly what I mean. The problem is, what really bothers this Osama Hamas spokesman, who very much care about the human life, of course. What he really worries about, that this is a plan to win, and Israel have to win this war.
Hold on a second. Mr. Feiglin, hold on 1 second. I want to be precise, because I got the letter. You published it August 1st to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. In the letter, and I'll read it to you, you say the formerly populated areas will be shelled in Gaza with maximum firepower. The entire civilian and military infrastructure of Hamas will be destroyed entirely. And then you say those who insist on staying will be required to publicly sign a declaration of loyalty to Israel. But getting back to the original proposal, you say they all have to leave and go to tent encampments in Sinai. Are you standing by that?
No, I did not say in Sinai. You know something, Wolf? I think that the Germans in Dresden or the Chinese in Nagasaki would have loved to get such an offer before they were bombed by the British and by the Americans. I'm talking again about the most humane way to win this war. And because we did not win this war, and because we shook the hands of these evil people 20 years ago in Oslo, you got the September 11th.
Hold on a second.
In New York.
I'm going to read.
You should realize.
Hold on.
Let me just finish the sentence, please. You should realize which kind of war we're dealing with.
I understand the nature of war, but let me read to you the sentence that you wrote, and you tell me if this is accurate. The IDF will designate certain open areas on the Sinai border adjacent to the sea in which the civilian population will be gathered, far from the built-up areas that are used for rocket launches and tunneling. In these areas, tent encampments will be established until relevant emigration destinations are determined. Electricity and water supply to the formerly populated areas will be disconnected. Are those your words?
Definitely. We should understand, Wolf, this is a war between evil and good, between light and darkness. And this darkness, if you don't want it in Washington, should be a win. And the only way to flourish the Gaza Strip is to do exactly what we did in Jaffa 19 years before. There will be only peace in the region under the full sovereignty of Israel. We should understand that after 20 years of trying to give these terrorists entity in the land of Israel. This plan, I'm saying again, is the most humane plan and the only plan that will bring peace and flourish the region. When you give these people money, billions and billions of dollars, they don't build homes. They don't build kindergartens. They don't build any kind of economy. All they do is bring more bloodshed to the region. This is a plan to win the war with the less of casualties that can be from both sides, and once and for all bring peace to the region.
Moshe Feiglin is the Deputy Speaker of the Israeli Knesset. He's a member of the Likud party. Mr. Feiglin, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Get more on the international reaction to and implications of the bloody conflict in Gaza. We're joined now live by Israeli journalist Gideon Levy from the Haaretz newspaper. Gideon, good evening to you. The Times of Israel recently published an article, didn't it? It wasn't aired for long, though, quote, called "When Genocide is Permissible," in which the author tried to justify what was happening in Gaza. Now, it was quickly taken offline. It was quickly removed again. But what does it say about the general feeling in Israel at the moment about the motives for this and the general cause?
As it started, it continues. There is a vast majority, a very, very clear majority for this operation and for the continuance of this operation. At the same time, there is almost overall indifference toward the suffer of the Palestinians, the suffer of the inhabited Gaza. The Palestinian sacrifice is hardly covered in Israeli media. Israeli media is concentrated only in its own sacrifice, the Israeli price, and by and large you see either indifference or in extreme cases even joy toward horrible scenes that we are exposed to from Gaza.
Well, while you mention that, let's just show our viewers a quick clip. It aired a week or two ago of some men chanting overlooking Gaza, basically whooping and whistling as the bombs are falling on Gaza. Let's listen to that a second. It's very quick. As you know, they're singing their "I hate all Arabs, Gaza is a cemetery." What does it tell us about the general feeling? Is it whipped up by the media, or is it a general heartfelt feeling from a lot of the population there?
First of all, let me be clear, this is an extreme example, and this does not reflect the general feeling, but unfortunately the general feeling is characterized mainly by indifference, by total blindness, no moral doubts, almost no debate about the morality of this operation, about the shocking figures of children killed, women killed, civilian killed. All this is almost not on the Israeli agenda.
We heard from an upbeat foreign ministry representative just before chatting to you now, saying there's a lot of backing, she said, for Israel at the moment from within the EU, etc., etc. But hang on, the times, they do seem to be changing. The winds, they seem to be moving here after what happened at these UN schools. Ban Ki-moon, America, especially America, coming out very strongly against it yesterday. Is the tide changing, and what about Israel's reputation after this?
First of all, let's not exaggerate, because until now the world quite stood and didn't really get any kind of harsh steps toward Israel or real pressure to put an end to it. There was some lip service, but not much more than this. I totally agree with you that the recent days changed the tone of some leaders in the world, but I still think that this will not make a change in terms of Israeli public opinion. Israeli public opinion knows how to protect itself from such phenomena, namely any criticism is immediately tagged as anti-Semitism, and then it's not our fault, it's the world's fault.
So what give here? How long is this going to go on?
First of all, I hope it will not go on, but nobody knows how will it end, because on one side it's very clear that all the parties are interested in putting an end to it, but Hamas wants to come out with some kind of achievement, and I'm not sure that Israel and Egypt will let Hamas come out with any kind of achievement out of it, and therefore it can take some more days.
It's a very complicated and sorry picture, as you're saying. Gideon Levy, thank you very much there, Israeli journalist from the Haaretz newspaper. Much appreciated.